dungeon horrible on all sides round, as one great furnace flamed, yet from those flames no light, but rather darkness visible, rifled the bowels of their mother earth for treasures better hid. Soon had his crew opened into the hill a spacious wound, and digged out ribs of gold. Out of the earth a fabric huge rose like an exhalation, a solemn council forthwith to be held at Pandemonium. High capital of Satan and his peers. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. These were the words of John Milton, the blind poet who dictated Paradise Lost in the darkness of his final years. Deprived of sight, he turned inwards and imagined to me one of the most terrifying landscapes in all of literature. The burning abyss of hell and the infernal capital of the fallen angels, Pandemonium. The word Pandemonium was coined by Milton himself, and it literally means all demons. It's built from two Greek roots, pan meaning all and daimonion meaning demons or spirits. It closely echoes another ancient building, namely the Pantheon in Rome. The Pantheon was built as a temple for all of the gods. Pandemonium, by contrast, is its infernal and perhaps even ironic inversion, a capital for all demons. In Milton's epic, it serves as the political center of hell, and it's here that Satan gathers the princes of hell: Beelzebub, Mammon, Moloch, Belial, along with the fallen gods of ancient civilizations, Baal, Dagon, Chemosh, Astarte. For nearly 2 centuries, readers could only imagine this horrifying depiction, but then in 1841, the painter John Martin attempted something rather extraordinary. He tried to paint Milton's hell. And it's this painting that you're looking at now. So what first catches our eyes? To me, it's the immense scale of the building, a truly colossal structure. It stretches across the hellish landscape with no clear end in sight. The only illumination in the scene rises from the molten rivers of hellfire and lava, casting a faint glow onto the palace walls. Once again, we're reminded of the great inversion that defines Pandemonium. This is hell illuminated from beneath, the very opposite of the light that shines from above in our world. Across the facade of the building, we can see the intricately carved ornaments, these twisting serpents that coil around the architecture. Of course, these serpents are symbols of the ruler of this temple, Satan himself. Remember here the lines that I read aloud earlier. Milton describes how Satan's legions ripped open the earth, tearing into its depth and digging out ribs of gold from the very bowels of hell. This language is strikingly anatomical. The earth is imagined like a living body, its bowels exposed, its ribs torn out, its interior forced open by the labor of the fallen angels. It's from this wound that Pandemonium rises. The palace gleams with the gold carved out of the depths, its wall catching the glow of the infernal fires. Under the light of the lava below, the capital shines like a vast monument built from the very body of the underworld. And here once again we encounter the great inversion that defines this city. Rather than descending from heaven, the gold of Pandemonium is mined from the very depths of hell. God had no part in its creation. Pandemonium is a kingdom built without God. If we look below the palace, we begin to notice something else. These tiny, almost microscopic figures that are scattered across the burning plains. These are Satan's legions. They gather before the gates of Pandemonium, assembling for the great council Milton describes in Paradise Lost, when the fallen angels are summoned from every band and squared regiment. And what's truly striking is the order in which they move. Like the palace behind them, their formations are rigid and geometric. Across the burning plain, these legions move in perfect ranks. Their movements are measured and precise, like a vast army assembling for war. And yet, despite the thousands of demons gathering before the palace, one figure stands apart from them all. In the foreground, on a jagged rock, we see this solitary figure overlooking the infernal landscape, Satan himself. He stands above the burning plains, gazing across the rivers of fire towards the capital of his new kingdom. In John Martin's striking composition, he's the only clearly recognizable individual in this scene, and this is of course not by accident. From this elevated vantage point, Satan appears almost like an army general or a monarch overlooking his kingdom. Again, we must think of the quote, "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." Taking a closer look at Satan, we find a figure far more unsettling than a simple monster. Milton's portrayal of him is complex and deeply ambiguous, which caused considerable controversy when the poem was first published. In Paradise Lost, Satan's power lies in rhetoric and persuasion. Much of the poem unfolds through his speeches, where Milton explores the seductive and often deceptive force of language. Satan's rebellion itself begins with persuasion. Through powerful speeches and carefully constructed arguments, he convinces a whole third of the heavenly host to follow him. And Milton reminds us that this ruler of hell was once among the most magnificent of angels. He writes, "He above the rest, in shape and gesture proudly eminent, stood like a tower. His form had not yet lost all her original brightness." Even after his fall, traces of that former glory remain. Standing there alone on the cliff, Satan appears as a fallen prince, a ruler who still carries the grandeur of what he once was. Yet the tragedy of Satan lies in the fact that his greatest weapon, his mind, is also the source of his torment. "Which way I fly is hell, myself am hell." Through Satan, Milton explores a disturbing philosophical idea. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. In the end, Martin's Pandemonium gives form to a place that had previously existed only in Milton's imagination. Across the canvas stretches an immense infernal landscape, the vast palace glowing with gold, the ordered legions assembling before its gates, and the solitary figure of Satan standing above it all. Each and every detail echoes the world Milton described in Paradise Lost. The gold torn from the depths of the earth, the infernal capital rising like a colossal temple, and the fallen angels gathering for their council beneath its towering walls. What Martin really did was transforming those few lines of poetry into an entire vision of hell, monumental in scale, illuminated from below by the rivers of fire and governed by the fallen prince who stands watching over it. In a sense, what Martin did was a kind of reverse ekphrasis. Milton described Pandemonium in words, and Martin translated those words back into image. Through paint and architecture, Milton's hell become visible. A place of immense order, terrible beauty, and endless ambition carved out of darkness itself. Darkness visible. Okay, that's all I had to say for now about Milton and Martin. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's the first video on this channel. So yeah, hi, I'm David and I study English, and I want this channel to be an outlet of the things that actually interest me. Right now I'm thinking about making a video about deep time in Middle Earth. If that's something you might be interested in watching, please let me know. Okay, bye.